Hi, and welcome to Candidate Corner today. Today, we're interviewing a congressional candidate, and this is Andrew Hayes. He's running for CD4 and he's running against Tom Cole. So, hey, Andrew, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running?
Well, I farm down here in Comanche County. I've lived here my whole life. Uh, I served in the Oklahoma National Guard. My granddad served in the National Guard, and so I wanted to do that. I worked out there at the Goodyear plant for almost 12 years, and it was a number of things between the pandemic and their goofy rules, and then my farm was getting to the size where I couldn't keep up with their schedule and the farm. So, now I just farm, and I don't know if I said this, we homeschool our kids, and I, I've never really been all that big into politics, the who's on whose side and who's fighting who and that kind of, you know what I mean, the politics of it. But I've always been interested in the more of the policy, the economic questions, and I've pretty well spent my life reading economics and history and political theory, with a little bit of theology sprinkled in, nowhere near on the level of Dusty Devers, but who's a good friend of mine. And by the way, he's the reason why I got in, I guess you can say, um, let me say this. I left the Republican Party and went and joined the Libertarian Party just because I was sick of the the liars and the backstabbers, the Tom Coles and the Marco Rubios and the Mike Pences, and the list is longer than the list of bad guys in the Republican Party at the time, and maybe still today, seems longer than the list of good guys, right? And so I would rather be with libertarians that I might disagree with on a thing or two than to be with people that lie to me. And so I left. Dusty ran for Senate. I looked at when I was helping him on the campaign. Uh, I met Terry and Amber Evans. They said, "Read our platform." And so I do. I'm like, yeah, this isn't bad. This is, there's some things I might say different or whatever, but let's not make mountains out of molehills. Y'all want to abolish the income tax and audit the Federal Reserve. I'm down. Let's go. And the issue we're facing really right now, and it's in everybody's face. It's always been an issue, but it's the inflation. It's our money crisis. That's what brought me into this race, and nobody else was supposed to run against Tom Cole. So I said, this guy doesn't at all stand on the party platform, so somebody should. And so that's why I got in.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we'll talk about those money issues here just in a couple minutes. But what's your stance on Second Amendment?
I'm an absolutist. It's not just the Second Amendment; it's the 10th Amendment. Even if you could argue, as some do, that there should be some curtailment, that you shouldn't be able to own a tank, it would be the state to make that rule, to put in place those regulations about where you can park your tank overnight. The federal government has absolutely no business in it. The National Gun Control Act of 1938 and 68 both need to be repealed. I would try to repeal them. I would encourage the state legislature to nullify them and just to simply not enforce them in the state of Oklahoma.
Okay. Well, let's move on then. And then, how would the concept of liberty, personal liberty, be important to you as a congressman?
So, and this is where somebody might say that I'm letting my libertarian influence bleed through. We talk about personal liberty, but property rights as an extension of personal rights. You have life, liberty, and property. You need all three. It's sacred. I don't. There's the both the establishment wing and I think to a lesser degree and I'm a Christian and everything, but the Christian right, they want to curtail those liberties for the sake of society and to glorify God and these sorts of things. And I'm not one that believes that government can be good. I think government's always going to be nasty and rotten. I agree with Thomas Paine that government is evil. Thomas Paine said that government at its best is a necessary evil. And I kind of emphasize that, hey, government is evil. Let's be realistic. Let's not expect good things. So all the government needs to do, all I ask of the government is to defend life, liberty, property, and leave me alone.
Yeah, I think that's what we like to hear.
Okay, so what is your perspective on federal spending then?
Okay, and if you want, go ahead and run that next question up because
just answer them together. What are your thoughts on the national debt and federal spending?
So I think that the point of those, obviously, if we followed the Constitution, we abolished the Department of Education, the CIA, ATF. There's a list, right? If we did all those things, then we could drastically cut spending. I think our military is overextended. You look at Rome, look at why they fell. One of the reasons was their military was overextended. And if we haven't tried to follow what Rome did over the last 20 or so years, it's a shocker. You know, it's like we're trying to do that. The second reason Rome fell is that their money was no good. They kept debasing the money. And that's the main reason why I'm running. I'm interested in having a godly money, and that's gold. It's honest. Nobody can control it. Everybody that's going to see this is against the digital currency, and I'm not that vocal on the digital currency because whether they're manipulating our money through the printing press or through ones and zeros in a computer, they're still manipulating it, right? And so I say we should go back to the gold standard, abolish the Federal Reserve. They can't manipulate the supply of gold, right? So that's where we get back to a free market. Having a Federal Reserve that sets interest rates, that's a socialist control. It's a socialist control of the economy. Their price setting. How we ended up with it in America is beyond me, but we've had it for 100 years. I mean, and I know how technically. I just don't know how people fell for it, is what I mean. That needs to be abolished. And without the Federal Reserve, the Congress doesn't have a endless supply of money that they can spend. Abolishing the Federal Reserve forces the government to, if we go to a gold dollar, it forces the government to balance their budget. They can't just issue bonds because at some point people aren't going to buy them. There won't be anybody to buy worthless bonds that they know that the U.S. can't recoup. They can't pay back. So that will go away. And, those two things, they kind of blend together, right? And I've got about a minute left. I wonder if you have any questions. I wonder if I'm coming through. Am I making any sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what I can do with a minute. That's what makes these sorts of things hard. I'll say this, the idea of states' rights, nullification, and even the idea of jury nullification with the Trump deal. It's not exactly jury nullification, but the whole concept of having a jury is that the people decide on the constitutionality of the law. So if you're charged with a crime, you actually did what they're saying you did. It's just that it was a gun charge and it's unconstitutional. If I'm sitting on that jury, I vote not guilty. I don't care if they have you on camera and your prints are all over the gun. It's unconstitutional. So the jury should just acquit. And that's a concept I'm trying to push through in my campaign too. If I was elected, I would push for legislation so that judges would have to inform jurors of their right to do that.
Yeah. Well, why don't you just recap what you're running for, when people need to get out and vote, where your website is, how people can contact you, where they can see your stuff?
Yeah, so my website, I hope, is down here at the bottom, hayes4house.com, running for House District 4 against Tom Cole. You know what? My phone number is out there, 580-458-7860. I tell you what, folks, I've got a group. It's not like my campaign group. I started it a long time ago, well, in October, and it's called Voters of Oklahoma, CD4 Uncensored. And I'll be honest with you, it's not a Republican group. It's not even a conservative group. It's just a group for people. And there's all kinds of people in there, good, bad, and ugly. And I put up videos. Other people put up stuff. We argue. There's debate. There's discussion. And if you think I'm wrong on something, let me know. I might bring you on and debate you.
Okay.
On a Facebook Live. But that's the best way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Okay. Well, the June 18th is when
That's
everybody
right.
needs
Yeah,
to
vote on June 18th because
Right.
voting will fix everything, y'all.
we
That's
can get it done. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for being with us, Andrew. We appreciated it. And thanks for your time.
Hey, thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Andrew.